Bob Eschino, co-founder of Medically Correct. Welcome on the Business Brief.
Good morning, Ryan. Thank you very much for having me.
Good to have you, Bob. Now, Bob, your company produces both medical and adult use cannabis products. You're one of Colorado's most successful cannabis companies. How's the business and the overall Colorado market? And tell us more about your mission.
Business is great. We are Colorado's #1 infused chocolate manufacturer and have been for, I want to say, almost a decade now. We've been really pioneers in this industry. Is one of the first people to get a legal license to manufacture cannabis products in the US, which is still kind of cool to say after all of these years. The Colorado market is still growing. If you've been paying attention to it, we're still growing year after year in revenue. We're launching a lot of new brands to help capture that growth. Incredibles is the cornerstone of our brands, and it's really a cornerstone here in the Colorado cannabis market. But we've got new brands like Nové, Quick, Clear Creek extracts that we are coming out with that helps us to continue to grow and capture that growth. Our mission, our mission from the beginning has been to help patients. I got into this industry through my grandmother. I watched my grandmother receive relief from medical cannabis. My brother, 12, 13 years ago, started infusing some cookies for her, and I watched it work. I watched her pain get better. I watched her appetite come back. I saw my brother make some creams for her for our arthritic hands. And that was really when the light bulb went off for me that cannabis was medicine. I'd never been afraid of cannabis, but I never really looked at it from the medical aspect. And when I saw it work for my grandmother, once you see something like that, you can't turn it off. You can't put that genie back in the bottle. So when I saw that, I knew I had to do something, and went and talked to my partner Rick and Josh, and started coming up with a plan to see if we could bring medicine to the Colorado market now that it was becoming legal.
All right. Now, market research indicates that luxury product segment continues to increase in demand, and better tasting edibles are the #1 customer request. Medically Correct has recently launched Nové Luxury Edibles, as you mentioned earlier, Bob, to meet that rising demand. Yeah. How's the new product line doing, and why are customers increasingly choosing Nové?
The launch of Nové has been incredible. It has, I think we've been on the market now for 4 months. It broke into the top 10 as far as sales revenue in its second month. The data is a little far behind, so I'm excited to see where we are in the second and third month. But it continues to grow, and we're really excited about it. We're coming out with the new plant-based gummy here in about 2 weeks. So that will add to the line and the excitement. We are really excited that, the brand has been about, I want to say close to 3 years now in the making. So, wow. It took a while for this brand to come out. We had to order, equipment, chocolate making equipment from Italy, and, then COVID hit, and it's been hard to get service and replacement parts. So, R&D was a little bit slowed down because of the pandemic, but, we were able to figure it out over the last couple of years. We finally got the products released. We finally have, the recipes and the unique coatings ready for the gummy product. And, we're ready to launch the rest of the Nové line. And
it sounds exciting, but I mean, between Nové and this plant-based gummy, which I think is fascinating to hear that you all are entering that market, and it's very telling in terms of where society is at and it's heading in terms of plant-based dietary needs and wants increasing. I think it's super cool to hear that you guys are entering that space, and what you're doing with Nové, I think, is going to meet a tremendously rising important customer demand. demand in terms of better tasting gummy in that luxury product line segment. Let's shift gears for a bit, though. Sustainability is a bigger and bigger issue for every industry, including cannabis, as customers, investors, governments want to know how companies like Medically Correct are performing to address things like greenhouse gas emissions and responsible sourcing, just to name a couple. With Nové Edibles, and as you mentioned earlier, quick consumables and topicals, what steps is your company taking to be a good steward and a well-run business?
Well, being eco-conscious is something that we feel strongly about. You know, the industry in general has struggled since the beginning because we were very limited on who we could actually deal with, right? We've been fired from almost every vendor we've had. And, you know, there's still a lot of vendors that we have to, we can't tell them that we're cannabis companies because a lot of vendors still don't want to deal with cannabis companies. But over the last several years, we have a lot more options now. And, you know, and some of those options are more eco-friendly. So we've committed a lot of money and resources to becoming the corporate citizens that we want to be. You know, especially with Nové, our vendor for Nové, they are a 100% zero emissions manufacturer. And with them, we've been able to develop a beautiful eco-friendly package. It's biodegradable, it's plastic-free, it's recyclable, it's made with a lot of recycled content. So we're really excited about that. You know, and as far as our ingredients go, we've finally been able to find, you know, we found a single source, fairly traded chocolate out of South America. You know, and that's something we haven't necessarily had access to for the last several years. So we're excited about that. You know, most of our products here in our kitchen are sustainable, right? We started looking at sustainability years ago, and we've got sustainable ingredients like our palm kernel oil. You know, we've got organic whenever possible. We've got gluten-free whenever possible. You know, our new gummies are going to be plant-based, like we mentioned. They've got fruit puree in them, which is great. It adds to the flavor. So we try every day to make some sort of small step to becoming more sustainable and more conscious of our environmental impact. And it's nice that we now have more, we have more options at our disposal because we haven't had that for a lot of years.
Yeah, well, and as you say, you know, it's where society is headed in large part. That expectation is there by your customers and future customers and investors, as we all know, the regulators as well. So it's really exciting to see and hear about the progress you all continue to make at Medically Correct. I think it says a lot about both leadership and your team's commitment to being good stewards, not just of the environment, but as good corporate citizens who care about your local community and who run a good business. It's possible to do all those things. Not always the easiest, but you can do it. Bob Eschino with Medically Correct, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Ryan.